All right, well, I got most of it out anyway. Yeah, that's freaking terrifying. Yeah, not really happy about that find. Like that's way too much garbage. So I got most of it out here, but yeah, all that stuff that was under the table. Yeah, you can't have that in the house. I mean, some stuff you got to organize stuff, right? Like, you can't just throw trash under the place like that. Ugh, I think. Yeah. So the thing I'm worried about is that they're going to bring those habits up home. You know what I mean? So I tell my dad about that. I said, this, like I don't want to, I'm not going to scream or yell at anybody or like that. But we got to set the ground rules that no, you can't have eggshells and garbage under the chair, under the table. Like, put that stuff outside. Like, there's no reason to have that in the house. There was moldy stuff in there with mold growing on it. No wonder they were sick all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the house, it's the lifestyle, right? So, when you move stuff, it's bad when you move stuff, and there's an aroma for about half an hour. So I get all that cleaned out, but I have to wait till the recycling bin is emptied so I can put more stuff in it. But that won't be till Monday, and then Monday the garbage is empty, so I can get the rest of the garbage out of the house. So the good news is that's like the final corner, and then I got to deal with this cactus thing. They want to bring this one up home because it's the biggest cactus, and the rest of the plants I don't know, but I'm not gonna wait for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I'll deal with it. Like, just get it done. And like, the thing is that you can't just mask smells. You have to remove the thing that smells. And like, I get it. People get overwhelmed with stuff like that, but there's no reason. Like, there's no reason to have that kind of trash in place. There's no, when the fridge starts getting too full, maybe dig through it. Like, like it doesn't. It takes 5 minutes. If you stay on top of it, it shouldn't be a problem. But everybody has to contribute. That's the thing. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a problem, but we have to. My dad and I are gonna, I'm gonna have to let my dad know, like, like most of the smell down here is the trash. You know what I mean? There was garbage behind everything, and no reason for that. Like, I've never had garbage behind stuff like that in any place I've ever lived. I've never, like, okay, messy, yes, sure. Was what tools here, all there, but my stuff is clean. But like, actual, like, packaging and like fruits and vegetables and stuff, like, sitting there on the counter rotting. You just can't have that. So up home, my dad won't allow that. But I need to make them aware that, watch what they're doing, because if they're going to be throwing stuff under tables like that, like. Like that like, they wreck this house and then they're gonna wreck that house. I don't think so. I'm a little bit put off by that. We'll just say like, there's no reason for that. There's no reason for that at all. You know. But anyway, I'm getting on top of it anyway. So once that corner's cleaned out and swept up and everything, I won't get it all done today, but I'll get that cleaned out. Then it's just a matter of cleaning out Operation Pine Sol, getting that started. I'll probably start with the cupboards, so I could. The reason why I got to start with the cupboards is so I can get the dishes off the counter and figure out what I'm going to keep, what I'm not going to keep, and stuff like that. And then, you know, like the stuff up home, it's like every morning I come down, I bring stuff with me because, I don't come down empty handed, right? And I brought I don't know what I brought with me. I know there was a motorcycle helmet in there, but I brought a tote with me this morning, and it's like I started looking around at all the rest of the stuff. Like, I figured it'd take probably about 4 truckloads or 5 truckloads to bring all my stuff down here. But it's like I look in the basement, it's like, well, there's really not much left for me to bring down here. I don't own a lot of stuff. Like, it looks like I own a lot of stuff, but I actually don't. Like, everything I own will probably fit in that room over there. I'm not going to put everything in the room over there because that's why my room is so cluttered up home. Is because like the reason why I keep all my tools in my room and stuff like that, so they don't disappear. You know what I mean? Somebody uses it and walks away, and sets of someone. So when I need to, work in the morning, I know where all my tools are. Like that's what the my garage is going to be, aka the veranda, aka Reg's garage, is going to be all the tools set out. Be about 2 weeks before I really get that set up. Hopefully, I'll have the motorbike down here by that time. Um, Again, I'd love to have all the outside exterior stuff like cleaned up around the house, the exterior with all the brushing and all that, and sealing up all the windows and all that by the end of September. We're the 8th or 9th of September right now. Then I want to have this all like, well aired out, and the walls washed and the floors washed and everything, and the fridge cleaned up, the cupboards and all that, and shop vac all the grates and all that stuff. Also by the end of this month, so that's why I do a little bit, even if I only do an hour a night during the week while I'm working, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. It all, you know, it all plays in, right? So like. Each night there's a little bit of progress, even if it's not a lot of progress. Like it's a big undertaking that I'm doing here, like to clean all this up. Like you got to do like round one, round two, round three. So it does take time, and a lot of people, you just start somewhere. Like I'm one of those people. It's like, if you don't know where to start, just grab something. Don't overthink it. Just grab something and start going. What tends to happen is when you do it that way, what I find is okay, I'll move the table, see what's under the table. Oh, well, I got to deal with that. So you'll find stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like that was like, okay, no, we can't have that up there. Uh, Absolutely not. We got to, nip it in the bud right away. That no, no, no. If you want that kind of stuff, you put it out in the garage or whatever. If you need it, go out and get what you need. But, you know, like the packaging, like it's just garbage. Garbage. There was a garbage under there. Like God knows how long the garbage has been under there like that, right? So I got to empty that out, but I can't empty out any more garbage because the garbage can. Like trust me, I filled the garbage can as much as I can. But I'll tell you this though: every time I bring stuff out of here, like that's the stuff that's smelling, right? Like just getting the clothes out from the other day makes a big difference. So once I get it all swept and get as much of the dog hair vacuumed out of here as possible, like my fear is that they're gonna you know bring those habits, because people don't change their habits quickly, right? So with my nephew, I already got him doing the dishes every night. Take out the garbage, that thing, but just don't let things sit. And I think like everybody, credit where everybody's pulling their weight so far, but it's only been a week and a half, right? So it's like we got to make sure that my dad stay on top of that, so that they get it that okay, no, you can't let the garbage build up. Like you see the garbage over, don't wait till the garbage is overflowing to take it out. Garbage bags are cheap, right? I mean, there was garbage behind everything, and that the stuff has been sitting there for a long time. So geez, why did this place smell? You know what I mean? Like it already smells. Well, it doesn't smell better, but it like the pungent smells are leaving as I take the stuff outside. So it's like I don't get it, but I do and I don't. You know what I mean? Like it's like I understand people are not everybody's the same. Like some people are messier than others. I clutter, but I'm not dirty. You know what I mean? Like I never have dirty stuff. Like I'll never have mold in a dish. You know what I mean? Like you might get the odd little container at the back of the fridge that, oh shit, I forgot about that. But as soon as you get it, you chuck it out right away. You got to stay on top of stuff like that, right? Because what happens, you just keep pack stuff in, and it's the stuff that's wet and mold. Like there was like pieces of, there was a squash there, whatever, sitting there, rotted, with mold on it. That's why you're sick. You know what I mean? Like you can't just Febreze over that stuff. You got, you know what I mean? Like you gotta deal with it. So like up home, like the cupboards are all clean, everything like that. Like my dad and I stay on top of that. I stay on top of the mice situation. All you guys see the videos of all the mice I catch and let go. They always come back in the house eventually, but you catch like 50 of them, you let them go, and then you have no mice for about 2 months, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, they're back, little buggers. So I can imagine there's a pile of them in here, but um, so far none of the traps. But I haven't really baited the traps yet. I just set them and whatever. I'll put some peanut butter on them this weekend and start with the traps. But I got to bring down my barrel and do that. So, but I really want to get this cleaned up really, really soon. So I can start shifting things around into their permanent place. Well, nothing's going to be in a permanent place down here because this is going to be a studio. So, like this cabinet's going to be all over the house. I'm going to record it over there, record it here, record it there, record it, and then put it away when I'm done. You know what I mean? It's coming along. I'm going to seal up the outside windows fairly soon. I got to get some I got to go to the hardware store, get some tuck tape, some caulking. I'm sure I got a plastic roll up home somewhere that I could finish off before I buy another one. I got lots of staples. So I want to get the back windows covered, and then I'm going to see if I can actually deal with some of the deal with some of the water where it runs in, and like that's a project for next year. But if I could even just start this year, I'd be happy with that. Every little bit you do, like you just got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Like I get it. People get overwhelmed, and they'll take on a project like this, and they're like, "Oh my God, what have I done?" You can't think of it in a 24-hour period. You got to think of it in like, okay, what's the target goal for the month? Okay, what's the target goal for the 3 years? Stuff like that. So for me, like when people, I tell them I'm going to cut everything down and make it all nice. It's going to take about 3 years. Why? Because I know. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, well, it's going to be all done this month. You can't do all that month. Nobody can. Nobody can. Even if you're working 8 hours, 16-hour days, you could not clear this property within, say, 3 months. You'd never get it all done. There's that much to do, right? So, what, you just give up? No, you don't give up. You don't overthink it. Just take something, get it done, and like stay on top of it. Once you do, like life, like everything gets easier year after year if you stay on top of things, inside and out. Inside, there's not going to be a lot of stuff I can do. I probably am going to splash it. Like next year, though, like I want to dehumidify the place for at least 8 months to a year before I even think about paint. And I wouldn't paint this late in the season, September. It could be quite fumy. Like paint, say April. Leave the windows open from April to October. You're good. Then you're not going to be smelling paint fumes the whole time. So as messy as my car was, it's still like there was nothing rotting in my car at all. Okay, yeah, candy wrappers, but they were cleaned out. You know what I mean? But this is the next level, guys. I mean, I've seen worse. I've cleaned out places worse, but the thing is just my got to make sure that they understand that they can't do what they did down here up there. So it's like you got to deal with the stuff right away. And there's a place for things like that, the eggshell things. There's no reason why those couldn't have been out on the porch. Like I understand what they're for. What they should have done is just taken all the eggshells, smush them up, dry them out, and put them in a bag somewhere and leave it out on the porch. You know what I mean? And then that way, whenever you want to put it in your plants, you can. Put the compost out where the compost should be, not the house. Yeah, there's no reason for that at all. No reason for that at all. So, I know it's embarrassing to talk about stuff like that, but it's a good example of what not to do. So that's why I show it on that. So I'm pretty sure they wouldn't appreciate me showing everything like that, but it shouldn't have got that place. Shouldn't have got to that in the first place. Yeah, like I'm in the right here. You know what I mean? I'm in the right here. Yeah, it's like no. You need to get on top of that. You can't let it get to that. For me, like I don't produce a lot of garbage anyway, and like anything vegetables wise, Susan's bad. Like I throw it in the compost right away. Like their composter was absolutely disgusting. Like it probably hadn't been emptied in about a year, so you can imagine what's. I have it way on the other side of the driveway, upside down, the little one and the big one, and it's just like no, because I had it up at home. I have that too, and I throw it in my compost. But you have to throw it out like every night or every other night. You know, like you just use that little basket. Just not you don't take it out when it's full. You take it out when you're done. You know, it's like okay, yeah, I'm just putting that in there for now instead of throwing garbage. I'll put it in the composter that night. So I'm not even going to leave that in the house because the first one I opened it up and it was full of mold. So it must have been like 3 days worth of stuff, and it was just blue in there. It's like okay, no, yeah, no, they're not doing that. Yeah, no, just throw it in the garbage. You know, whatever. Take the garbage out. I don't want to see garbage in behind the garbage can. You know, like I want it out of there. There's no. It's not a long walk to the end of the driveway. There's no reason to have that there. There's enough garbage cans at the end of the driveway. You know, if ours is full. Put it in another one. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Um, because I am looking forward to getting this. You know, just getting everything out. You know what I mean? So if I can get everything out by the weekend and have most of it mopped and like obviously all the cobwebs will be swept down, but as fast as you're sweeping them down, spiders are making new ones. So I remember my grandmother would sweep it down like once a day, kind of thing. You know, that was just kind of her morning routines. Take out all the cobwebs and then you know they'll always be here. But like years of cobwebs, you know, like just get rid of them. You know, cobwebs. I actually don't mind the cobwebs that much because the cobwebs aren't what stinks. You know what I mean? Garbage I mind. That type of stuff. So the rest of the plants, I don't know, except for the cactus. I think the rest of the plants will probably stay here. I'll keep them until they're dead. I'll try to keep them alive, but you know, water them once in a while. But plants, they're good for your home, but they can also create a lot of problems because of the amount of, like, for example, there was a humidifier there. It still had water in it, and it was underneath that. So how long was that water in it? Like, you know what I mean? Like all these things with water and stuff like that. All that stuff, you know, like that evaporates into the house. That's what's going to create the moisture and all that. Like guys, like it's when I a week and a half ago when I came in here, it was pretty rank in here. This morning, like I've been doing little tests of okay, keep the windows open as much as I can. I got the loft, the attic open. But when I come in here in the morning, like last night, for example, I closed all the windows. Right, didn't leave any open at all. I left the attic open just cause. But there was no change in humidity, no change in smell. My guitars stay in tune, so obviously the humidity is not too bad in here. So I'm going to dehumidify it big time. Uh, but that window there lets in a lot of air. Like the house is completely east west, and the wind comes directly out of the west. And it's like, so when the wind blows, it's like, you know what I mean? And that's drawing out the place a lot too. So the basement, yeah, that's going to be the biggest issue for drying it out. You know what I mean? But like I say, I've already noticed just from keeping the basement door open, like the basement walls they weren't wet, but you could tell they were saturated last week. Now it's brighter down there because that's the moisture leaving those walls, right? So yeah, you know, like, it'll take time. Like it's probably going to take me about 8 months to get the smells out of the place completely. You know, whatever. So you know, but you know, the preliminary one is to get it all swept out, then vacuum it out, wash everything. Then once everything's washed down, maybe you know once twice a year, you give the house like a big, you know, and then just you know wipe everything down and clean everything as you go, you know, for the rest of the year. So then next year, if I decide to paint, which I probably will, maybe I paint the floor, maybe I don't. I don't think I want to paint the floor. Not until I know that there's no leaks in the house, nothing leaking into the house whatsoever. So that's going to take me a while to track down all the leak spots. So far, there only really seems to be about two. like, and they're both in the same bedroom. Maybe three if it's not of the same. And I think most of that leaking is coming in from the windowsills, because they're old windows, right? There's no molding on them; it's just wood, so that it's probably saturated. So what I want to do with those is cover them for now, and then next spring paint over the windowsills just to keep them sealed up. Um, like, yeah, I mean the place needs new windows for sure, but like I'm not going to put that kind of money into it unless I owned it. I'd put that money into it, but I don't need to. I can uh, get make do with what's there. But like next spring, for example, all the plastic will come down off of that window, that window. I'm going to give every window a good washing, and then of course I'm going to be pruning everything out there, so at least I can see, see who's coming in the driveway or whatever, all that stuff. But yeah, so I got a little bit done today, not as much as I would like to, but it's a good start. And then tomorrow's a new day. It's going to be a hard day tomorrow because I got to do all the cycling and all that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll clean up that corner a bit more tomorrow. Get started on the dishes. The dishes won't take me long. It'll probably take me about an hour to do all those dishes and all these dishes here. Maybe an hour, hour and a half. That sink, that sink is really, really low pressure. Like the shower nearly, takes the skin, the hide off you. But for whatever reason, there's not a lot of pressure in the sink. I don't know. Maybe it's the way maybe the taps are corroded or whatever. I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out. But yeah, there we go. Coming along. You guys are along for the journey, and is what it is, And I'll show you everything, And then once you see how I've got it set up, we'll talk about the numbers of the place and stuff like that. And I still don't have until I have the hydro in my name. Like the next hydro bill, whether it's in my name or my brother's name, I'll pay it anyway. I keep reassuring him that, don't worry, you're not going to be paying it. I'll be paying it. But I do want to get it in my name as soon as possible. Can only procrastinate so long on that, you know what I mean? But until I know exactly how much hydro I use, I'm going to budget on my brother's numbers. So, on he was paying 700 in the winter every 2 months. So that's about 350 a month. We'll say 350 to 400 a month. January, February to heat the place. But there's a lot of things that we've discovered, such as all the heaters. There was stuff in front of all the heaters. Right now, mind you, this place has never been, it's not well sealed up in comparison to a lot of modern homes. So yeah, it will be colder in here, and there's no doubt about that. But I also don't need it to have it the surface of Mars in here. If I can keep it at 21, I'll wear a sweater and some socks. The only thing I care about is that the water doesn't freeze and it doesn't wreck the instruments. That's other than that, like I do prefer it a little bit cooler. Like right now, like whatever the temperature is in here is probably like 19, 20 degrees, maybe even 17 degrees in here right now. I love it. It's like, oh yeah, nice and cool. So all that stuff to be revealed as I get to it. But yeah, I got to get all that all. There's a topsoil on the freaking ground, pro mix. Whatever, I got to get all that all sorted out. I tell you guys, I tell you. But anyway, yeah, I gotta wash the windows. That's the other. I got the squeegee. I'm actually good at washing windows. I used to do it. Well, I used to be a janitor, right? So yeah, I got it down to an art form. So sometimes like a client will hire me to do windows that like up on a ladder or something. And they're like, "Oh my God, you got the windows so nice. How'd you do that?" So I've done a lot of windows. Yeah. So I haven't slept down here yet. Until I get it all cleaned up, I won't be sleeping down here. No point. Like until you get it clean, right? And then you're good. But I like you could sleep down here now. Like I could very easily fall asleep in this chair right now too. It's freaking comfortable. I got to get this chair like really descented and everything. It's not too bad. It is a leather chair. leather is kind of funny. It takes on smell, but not the same way like fabric does. So a lot of times you can get away with resurrecting a leather chair. I think I'm just gonna, make it smell like roses or whatever, and then stick some Febreze things underneath. But again, I want to vacuum it all out underneath, and it like just disassemble the chair a bit and roll it over, and you get all that. There's that stuff you can put on it there. You put on rugs, let it soak in, and well, it doesn't soak, but it's just like a powder. It goes on there, let it sit in there, absorb a bit, and then vacuum it all out. Get as much smell out of it as possible, and then yeah, maybe get some leather treatment stuff. Very, very, very comfortable couch or chair. Must have been worth a fortune when it was new. Yeah. When I was a kid and Lazy Boys became the rage, uh, you have no idea how expensive these things were back in the 1970s when they came out. And I'm that old. You know what I mean? I'm that old. Yeah, the Lazy Boy. It's like, I remember the commercials and everything like that. And, like everybody, guy trying to get comfortable in a chair and he gets in the Lazy Boy. He's like, wonderful times, wonderful times. But it'll be more wonderful times when everything's cleaned up out of here. Yeah, I'm still pretty motivated though for the place. Like excited, like I can still kind of see what it's going to be like when it's finished. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to get some drop blankets for the walls for my. I'm gonna need a black one, a green one, so I could do green screen stuff. A white one, maybe a few other colors. I'm gonna have to get some lighting, some actual like studio lighting, but not really harsh lighting, but just like stuff so I can get different, so I can make my videos, so I can make my videos look a little more professional. Can't wait. I really can't wait. It's kind of like because it's September and I've got to make enough money in September and October to really get me through November, December, January, February, March, April. So I need to get 6 months of income, and I'm about 3 months of income too short right now because of the extra cost. I would be okay if I didn't have the extra cost of this, but when I reveal this, I think I'm going to be okay. It's just where I don't know I'm going to be okay is what's the hydro going to be. Um, and there's a few things like I still got to give my dad money for the chickens. I got to give him about 200 for that, and then I'm gonna kick in an extra 100 for groceries. Because one thing about my brother and my sister in law, they don't spare any expense when it comes to the groceries. So I got to pull my weight there. Self critique. They bought a lot of groceries. So what I'll do is here's $100, just add to the grocery pile. Get good stuff. Like I say, she's a phenomenal cook. It's like she made homemade pizza from scratch the other night. It was freaking two of them, and oh yeah, you need it till you come out here. Like every night there's something new. But the problem is I gotta be careful because we end up with so much leftovers that the leftovers go bad. So like I try to eat the leftovers, but if I ate everything that was left over plus the meal, regular meal, I'd be 900 pounds, guys. You know what I mean? I'd be eating all the time. I try to only eat one big meal a day, and I do intermediate fasting throughout the day. I might have a meat stick in the morning or something like that if I'm working all day, but I don't eat a big breakfast or like that. So, yeah. So it's like if you notice I start to balloon out there, it's blame the cook. Yeah, it's a good thing though. So yeah, no, I need to give a little bit more there, just so I'm pulling my weight on that too. Because normally what I do is I just hand the money to my dad because my dad's a picky eater and stuff like that. So it's just like here, buy whatever groceries I'll just eat whatever you eat. I'll eat any just about it. There's not too much I don't like. I'm like a billy goat. I can pretty much eat anything. Um, so it's just like okay, well here's the money. Buy what you think we need. But I am going to have to start to get some supplies for down here, such as poop tickets, and I have to get a lot of those. Um, Once I get everything sorted out, what I'll probably do is borrow my dad's truck or whatever, Or the next time they go grocery shopping, we'll take my brother's minivan. Everybody pile into the minivan. We'll go up to Renfrew and just, okay, how much stuff could we get into a minivan? I need some stuff down here. I'd like to do like one big shopping, like major mega shopping thing. So like, I won't do it probably till about the spring, but sometime around the spring, I'll grab the credit card, go to the grocery store, buy like $1,000 worth of groceries, and it'll be mostly canned stuff, like the day to day stuff. I could, you know, don't need to buy that much of it. Um, and just have like that way you're not like every 2 or 3 weeks having to travel to the store. Like that's one difference from living in the city and living in the country is people typically don't shop on a daily basis in the country, right? Like where when I lived in the city, I never did groceries. I just went out and bought like a bag worth of whatever, and then okay, maybe I do one grocery thing at the end of the month, for the staple stuff, and just then just okay, tonight I'll buy this and this and this, and then I'll make this. Like you just never hung on to anything, right? Because it was on your way home and you just stopped in and there it was. Whereas to get groceries, you got to go out of your way. Like the closest grocery store is about a 35-minute drive from here. You know what I mean? So I mean, the corner store is there, but like you don't buy at the corner store because like everything's like 8 times the price, right? You'd buy it in a pinch, but yeah, like your money's going to go a lot further if you go to Renfrew or something like that. Renfrew's an hour away. Ottawa, I don't bother going to Ottawa. Like, no, not for groceries like that. Renfrew has the Walmart. It has the Best Buy, or what do you call it? The Best Buy or whatever it is. They're not Best Buy. No frills. So you go in there. It's like you can go down to like if you're gonna buy bulk, you can go to like Super C or Costco in town, but like they're not really that great of a deal. Like the Super C, like if you were a restaurant owner, you go there, right? And you buy okay, you can buy like individual things, but it's mainly bulk there. So when you buy craft beer, you buy 50 boxes at once, right? Yeah, like it's like you just buy big boxes of stuff. Uh, it's like you buy like toilet paper, you buy like 500 rolls at once, that kind of thing, and you get a better deal on it, right? So okay, if you're going to do that, that makes sense, but it's a big investment all in one shot, right? So you're buying tubs of stuff, so it's like you got to work stuff out like that. So for me, like I'd go and I'd buy say like 52 cans of spaghetti sauce, so I could have spaghetti like at least once a week. I'd buy a big bag of salt, a big bag of pepper, or whatever. Store that away. All the soy sauce bottles would buy like 24 of them would probably last you a year. Uh, you can get like your ketchup and stuff like that. That's more maybe you buy 2 bottles of that, 2 bottles of mustard, 2 things of whatever, mayonnaise, whatever you're gonna have, salad dressings, all that. You can buy a bunch of bottles and like whatever you got room for, like like because it depends what like what you're gonna use. A lot of stuff like that I don't use. Like coffee, my dad buys like the tubs of like the little containers there, well the Folgers, whatever, buys like 5, 6 of them at once, and then he's got like a couple of months worth of coffee. I don't drink coffee. Tea, once in a while. I might get some tea because they do have the like in the wintertime having a nice tea on the go all the time. Only problem with the tea is like keeping it warm. You got to get one of those like little tea warmers where it's like oh, my tea's cold, turn it back on, and it warms it up, just enough. Nice tea once in a while. Do that. Yeah, so there's like I got to start thinking like making the place a livable space too. Mind you, it is going to be predominantly a studio first, right? But it's going to be I think it's going to be once I get everything all sorted out. Like I'm a little bit impatient in the sense that I just, like, because I know where I'm going to put roughly everything. Like I've been like the piano. I know the piano is going there when I get it. You're probably saying, Reg, what piano? The one I'm going to get. I just don't know if it's going to be a baby grand or an upright. There's free pianos all over the place, so I'll have to pay the gas to get it or whatever. And, I don't know if it's coming through this door or going to go through the other door. I'll sort that out, but that's probably, like I can't get that until I get everything all cleaned up. You know what I mean? But I can't wait to get one anyway. And what's cool about that is, like, when it's all set up, like, this is going to be a very enjoyable place to be. You know what I mean? Like I just sitting in my chair. This spot right here is going to be an interesting spot. Wash down the door and all that. Paint's coming off. Yeah, I'm gonna have to spruce up some paint or whatever. If you're wondering what it says out of order on my brother has a screw in the door because the door kept flying open. Well, the dogs used to jump on it. They ruined the first door, and this door here is not too much better. But the thing is going to be like a major blog spot and set up and whatever. And when I do get set up, like it'll be, I can make my videos just bang. Like I don't have to set anything. I just go, here's where I make my videos for this. Here's where I do this. Here's where I do that. And it's just set there. So things happen a lot faster. It helps creativity because when you don't have to pack things up and put it away, pack it up, put it away, and take it out, all that, and set it up and all that. When it's just set up, okay, good to go. Like drum recording day is going to be, like set up all the microphones. Okay, as soon as I come home from work, okay, hit the record, everything's there, right? So it'll take time, and obviously there's going to be a lot of equipment I'm going to have to buy over time too. Like, there's no end to buying equipment. I've got to get a couple more microphones, a few more microphone stands. I got to get a drum mic set up. Then I got to get a board for that. I got to get another laptop. There's all kinds of stuff. Like, there's no end to it, right? Like, you consume until the day you die. But if it makes better content, even live streaming might become a thing. It's just the only problem with live streaming on YouTube. I can't do the geopolitical stuff on YouTube. Other people get away with it. I can't get away with it. My channel's already marked for death. Even though it's milk toast. Like it's hanging over from the last channel, right? They're just waiting for you to do whatever. Next stuff. Ooh, that could have hurt. Don't want to step on that. Ow. That was in my boot. Probably a bunch more of them on the floor somewhere. I'll have to sweep that up pretty good so I don't end up impaling my toes. But, yeah. So I guess I better, go up home for supper. And then I got some stuff done down here. Make a blog and a video. Yeah. Maybe do a little more planning. So tomorrow I probably won't get as much done as I did today, but every little bit helps. But I think tomorrow I'm going to at least start the dishes anyway. But clean out the bottom cupboard, even if I just do the bottom cupboard, just so I can get the dishes off the, like you have to move the clutter to get to the clutter. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I think though, from tomorrow on, things are going to get a lot cleaner in here. I still got to wash down the dresser so I can put it back together, and then I can start putting stuff in the dresser. That's mainly that dresser is going to be like, okay, top shelf guitar strings. I'm not going to use it for clothes. No point in doing that. That's going to be like a music storage, like guitar pedals and cables and stuff like that. Because I don't want the stuff hanging on the walls, and I don't want it all over the floor unless it's in use, right? Because there's going to be like all kinds of like XLR cables around this house. It's going to be a clutter of cables. Yeah, people criticize my clutter of cables. I've got cables all over the place here from just a little lamp and stuff like that. Amplifiers. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of amplifiers in my near future. Like the guitar craze I kind of went through. I'm not done with the guitars. I still want three really good acoustics, a 12 string of nylon, and maybe possibly two steel strings. I don't know what I'm going to do with that poor tack 12 string. I'm gonna, see if I can resurrect it. I was hoping so much for that guitar I bought in 2019, and I must. It was a B stock guitar for a reason, and in the store there wasn't a scratch on it, so I think what it was is they probably didn't use properly dried woods, and then that would explain the heel joint and all that, or maybe just the climate from China to here was just too great, and in China everything's straightened by the time you get to Canada. Like Canada, you go through a lot of seasons, right? So. Um, yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be, a couple more guitars. Obviously, seven-string guitars are my thing now, even though I mainly have six-string guitars. That Charvel really, that Charvel, guys, I can't wait to get it down here and show it off. You guys only, barely got to see it play. You're going to see a lot of guitar content. That part's, yeah, I can guarantee you that. And a lot of coming out of this thing. I love that thing. I've had it since 1991. I was a teenager. How old would I have been in 1991? I would have been 18. Let me think. Yeah, I think I would have been 18. 91. Yeah, it would have been around 18, 17, 18. Worked my ass off for 2 summers to buy that. And the Ibanez, pro guitar that I had at the time. It got stolen. I mean, I still bitch about that RG 750. It was a great guitar. Somebody stole it on me. If I ever found out who it is, yeah, they're gonna get hurt. That was years ago, but I worked so hard for that, and all the stuff I have, I worked for. You know what I mean? The chainsaw I'm using today, that I use today, it's paid for itself, but I worked hard for that. Or it's cool that it's paid for itself. The brush cutter, the pole arm chainsaw, I worked hard for that stuff, and so it's one of those things that it's nice to see the fruits of your labors, you know. And for like a lot of people, like they'll look at the musical equipment, and, oh, it's a waste of money. You should just buy the cheaper stuff. It's just as good. There's when you buy stuff that's really good, you need not want. There's a reason why I still got this cabinet, right? Because I didn't buy the cheap Marshall. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to anybody that has Marshalls, but like this was sitting beside a Marshall, and I thought I was going to buy a Marshall stack for sure. I plugged in the Marshall, and then I thought, well, just for comparison, I'll plug this in. I walked out of the store with this. It was a little more expensive, but I walked out. I was just like, it was night and day. Everybody in the store just turned like, wow, that thing sounds fucking awesome. And like, yeah, I know, I'm buying it. And my dream was always that. Now, mind you, this is obsolete technology. Pro bands don't carry this stuff around. Maybe some do. Well, I wanted 3 tops like this and 3 bottoms, like just 3 big Mesa Boogie stacks. I only ever played a full Mesa Boogie Mark V stack once, and that was in the Mesa Boogie shop in Los Angeles. And I remember we cranked it up to 5 or 6 in that tiny little shop, not much bigger than this house. It was, the windows were rattling, the guitars were moving on the walls. I was standing in front of this thing, my hair was parting. It was fucking crazy. And it's like, oh yeah, man, we'll turn it up. I was playing an ESP guitar, like a really nice ESP guitar, Horizon. Those things were worth a fortune back then. You should see, they're like 7-8 grand now. They still make them, but yeah, I'll never forget that. It was crank it out like "Welcome to the Jungle" or something like that on it. And it was 1992. Everybody was into the Guns N' Roses thing. But I'll never forget that. I was like, oh my god, that's the pant legs flapping. Yeah, it was like I had my Back to the Future moment standing in front of it. And I wanted 6 cabinets, 3 tops, 3 bottoms, and but that because that's the rage at the time. Now you don't even go on stage with this. You go on stage with like a little thing like that, and the power, like that little 15-watt amp is what is running through this. That's all you need. and it gives you like this killer sound. It's crazy. It's so crazy technology. But yeah, it's a lot of fun too. A lot of fun. So I guess I'm just battling now and kind of daydreaming a bit, but yeah, the place is coming along. There's a lot of work to be done yet, but just to clean it out, decent, kind of get the stink out of it a bit more, But every time I take stuff out of here, the place smells better. So, once I wash the walls, wash the floors, clean out the basement, that's going to be the big one. There's probably like I say, it's probably gonna be 6-8 months of it being musty, but like breathable. As long as it's breathable, you can deal with all the other stuff, Um, but like almost like a week and a half ago, it wasn't breathable in here. You know what I mean? And now it's breathable in here, and like it's gonna be. I'll be patting myself on the back when I'm done. I know that. It's kind of like because I can see the project. I get it's like something I've always wanted was to have like a Da Vinci style life. You know what I mean? Where you wake up in the morning, you have something to eat, whatever. You go paint for a bit. You go talk to somebody down the road, do a little bit of work, come back, start carving a sculpture. You know, look at the big stone, and it's like, okay, you see a stone, I can see the statue inside the stone, and that's kind of how I am with this. Is like I can already see the finished product, exactly what it's going to look like. You don't know until you're done, but I can see the potential. I can see the every time I clean something out, it's just like, okay, yeah, I can see what's going to go thereafter. It's kind of neat, kind of a neat thing, and so. But I guess I better get my lazy butt up and get up home. Uh, yeah, it was a hard enough day's work, that's for sure. Oh, chainsaw and moving big, freaking heavy, like 150-pound rocks, like big rocks around the rock garden bed there. Pull them out, you're like, and all those things. Yeah, stones of shame. The stones of triumph are even bigger. Holy crap. Yeah, so I did all that. So hopefully tomorrow it's just grass and not too hard of a day. And hopefully I don't get rained on like I did last week. That sucked. But yeah, no, cram in the dollars as much as I can between now and October. And then hopefully I get enough work in November and December to kind of supplement. But I do plan my years from like April to October because I know I work those months no matter what. But it's just like anything after October is a bonus. Anything before April is a bonus. And last 2 years I did okay that way, But there's like, who knows what'll pop up in the January or February. But I don't really want to do much work in those months, especially this year. I want to have enough money to get through January and February to really spend time down here recording, get you guys some stuff. Because like I've got songs ready to go, and the videos are going to be tricky though. Like if I can get the videos done the way I want, you're going to be blown away. The songs, one song called "Crystallize." That one's going to be a hard one for you guys to watch. That one's going to be, if I pull it off the way I want. The song itself is it's a beautiful song, but it's disturbing. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it. And then I've got Pinto. That one's going to be the Charvel, that blue Charvel all the way. If I get that one, that's going to be a really heartwarming one for the song, right? The video should be very heartwarming, but the solo, that's I think so far one of my best solos I've come up with, to the point where I wrote the solo before I actually wrote. Like I had an idea of like the main riff for the song, and then the guitar solo. I was like, oh no, this one has to have a really spectacular guitar solo. So like, I mean, spectacular for me, right? Okay, maybe Eddie Van Halen will do a better job, or Yngwie will do a better job, but for me, going to give you something. It's very neoclassical. It'll kind of I'm not saying it'll rival the Hotel California solo because it doesn't sound like that. It has a the best way I could describe it is that it's a cross between Hotel California in vibe and Sultans of Swing and vibe with like if Ingve would have played it, if that makes sense. But with the touch of Mark Holcomb, if that makes sense. You have to hear it. There's arpeggios in it. There's sweep picking in it. There's shredding in it. There's whammy bar stuff in it, and I might still add to it, yeah, because like that one, I really want to. I want to make it like I don't want to overdo it, but I want to make it like a really when you hear it, you'll be like, wow, you'll hear the song once, you'll remember it for the rest of your life, kind of thing. That's what I'm going for. But you need time to do that. That's one of the problems that, living with my dad up home is that I could only record when he was out of the house and then, but when's he coming back home, so it's always rushed. So most of the songs I put out were like excellent crap. Like they were, what I mean? It's like when you rush songs, you like when I listen to, but it's like I got to get something out. Just okay, like I know it's crap, but I'll do it, right? But these songs, and then I got a whole host of other ones, but these are going to be the first two on the roster. I already recorded Crystal Eyes, and round one came out really, really good, but I know I can do better. The best way I can say is it starts off as a country song and it ends as a death metal song. It will cross genres like you wouldn't believe. You start off with the SG, you end with the H string. But if I can, that video, I don't know if I gotta start meeting people that can do like AI video stuff really, really good. Because like I thought it would have cost to film, like to get people to film and stuff like that, and which I'd rather do. I'd rather use human beings for sure. But just to get the ball rolling, you know what I mean? Okay, I'll be in the video just playing the instruments, but if I could ever get the actors and the actresses together, but I'm like thinking, yeah, well, you got to pay people and you got to do all that. And I don't like the AI videos. Like they're interesting, but it's just like I want to see human beings, right? But I know if it's done well enough that the story and the song will carry it, I could live with that for now. You know what I mean? And it would probably be the cheapest way to go. Um, like I can only, like do so much with what I have, right? So obviously going to have to pay to outsource to get the videos good. And then maybe, just maybe, somewhere early next year, if I'm lucky enough, I can basically start another YouTube channel completely independent of this one, and it'll be solely dedicated to my music stuff. Um, but like no cover tunes, just original music. So I really, really want to focus on the original music because I'm 52 years old, right? Cover tunes, I can do them anytime. But you're 52 years old, anytime is not guaranteed. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying I'm going to die tomorrow, but you never know, you could. So I really want to have some really spectacular. Look, Beethoven wrote 1,050 or 15 pieces. I can't remember what the number. It's ridiculous how much, and I can only imagine what the man threw away. So, it's not good enough. Send it back. You know what I mean? And Beethoven, and I remember telling what call it? I'll think of his name. Brian, the guy with the blue horse, the Johnny Cash imitator. I told him about Beethoven when he wrote his Ninth Symphony, the last symphony that he wrote. I believe it was the Ninth Symphony was his last one. He was stone deaf when he wrote it, and how he was able to figure it out was he cut the legs off the piano, put the piano on the floor, lay on the floor, and went by the vibration, so that he knew that the intervals were right. And like if that is not like master creativity, I have no idea what. Now I don't know if I'm going to take it to that level, but that's why I protect my hearing as much as I possibly can. When I work, like I see all the guys my age now, they're all, stone deaf and stuff like that. The only thing I need glasses. Um, 48 to 52, man, you're gonna need glasses. I'm telling you, yeah. Like I can still see good far, but like up close, it's like I can't read and stuff like that. And yeah, so I got to get glasses. It's another thing on the list. But yeah, no, like I mean, yeah, composing stuff. Like I got to get all this work done so I can just take the time. Okay, the days off. Okay, I'm going down to create stuff. Not clean, not build, not fix, not repair, not slaying chupacabras. Just I just want to go and freaking create stuff. you know, yeah, gotta get it, gotta get it out, gotta get it out. Yeah, it's. I think there's gonna be some really phenomenal music magic made down here for sure, especially with the Nessa Boogie. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. I can sit and chat for hours. Again, yeah, like once I get a new laptop or something like that, you never know. Live streaming. I just on this channel, what I'd like to do is like live stream, but like interviews with people. I think that would be great. But all the people I want to interview, it's all geopolitical stuff, so I'll have to see if I could do it on a bit shoot or something like that. But like I'd like to interview rock stars, for example. Have a chat with Nuno or chat with Ingve. ask him about sweep picking. Get him mad right away. It's not. I don't sweep pick. Yeah, Ingve and sweep picking. And technically, he's right. He doesn't sweep pick. It sounds like sweep picking. It's sort of a sweep, but it's not a sweep. He's like, no, it's down and then one up. It's not a sweep. It's down, one up, and down. Yeah, yeah. Watch many videos of Ingve going off the rails on that. But that'd be cool to, not that they. I'd love to have talk to Fabian Ernie from Elvadian Kriegel. That would be a really cool interview. Who else would be cool? The whole Anchor crew. I'd love to talk to them. That'd be if they'd ever do it. You know what I mean? That'd be really, really cool to talk to them because they're Anchor. I think they're. I love their mini album they just put out there, the Shogunized. If you haven't seen it, you got to start with Dark Beat, which is the first one, and it goes Dark Beat, Prisoner, Oblivion, Stereo, Venom, their craziest song that they play, and then Ambers. That's a beautiful song. And then it finishes with Shogunai. Beautiful series. If you watch it, it's Anchor, Ankor, and then just start there, headphones on, lights out, big screen, as loud as you can stand it. Watch the whole video, pick up on the story. Phenomenally done. So yeah. Anyway, which gave me ideas too. Anyway, I got to get going because there's probably supper just about to be ready. And, not only am I working on cleaning up the house and getting it, but I'm also working on probably becoming 900 pounds from all the good food. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. You guys have yourselves a great day. All right.